Today, I'm going to be going over the different stations in the hideout and how I specifically use them. This video is a bit long, so if you want to skip to different sections about different stations, I'll have them timestamped on the timeline. I just want to say again, thank you all for being such a supportive group of people. You guys have been awesome to me, and every single comment you leave really makes my day. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers, and that's absolutely incredible. I just got my webcam set up, so this video is a little bit different than my normal content. I kinda just hit record and saw what happened, so if you guys like this kind of video, let me know. And if this video helps you, don't forget to like and subscribe. I've got even more Tarkov content on the way. Alright, so I know that the hideout is like a pretty intimidating part of Escape from Tarkov when you first start playing the game. I have said this in past videos, but I really think it's definitely worth learning how to use. What the hideout really does for me, at least, is it makes it so I'm like comfortable with my money. It makes it so like a lot of the time you have to spend time making money either doing scav runs or just like easy money runs kind of a thing. And I feel like once you're able to kind of master the hideout, it makes it so you get a pad a little bit. You get like a pad for your money where you don't have to spend all that time making the money in the first place. So there's a ton of different stations, but I'll go through each one and like explain what I use it for and how it's like the best way to make money. So I'm gonna start over here at the Medstation. I have all these crafts set up from last night, so I'm just gonna collect all of them, and then I'm gonna show you like what specific things I do at each station. To start out, actually, I'm gonna show you something. So we're gonna go into the skill tab, and there are two different skills that really affect the hideout and your crafting and all that kind of stuff. So there's the crafting skill. The higher you upgrade it, the faster you're able to craft different stuff in the hideout. The way that you upgrade it is by just crafting. It's super weird, but the way it works is you can't just craft the same thing over and over again, because for some reason, like the way the stats work, it doesn't level up as fast when you're just doing one thing. So what you want to do is alternate your crafts. These like pile of meds are going to be a really big part of the Medstation. So a lot of the time the thing that I do to mix in the crafts that I normally do are these pile of meds crafts. So all that takes is an augmentin, a bandage, and one of the cheeses. A lot of the times I'll just like bring augmentin out with me. A lot of people don't see the use of it, I guess, but I always grab it because I think it's a great craft to have. But besides the pile of meds, big thing that I do is I will craft different stims. So my go-to stim is definitely gonna be the mule. I love the mule because it makes it so when you're in a raid, you take it and you'll be able to carry a lot more than you're normally able to. And this is great after you like kill a PMC and they have armor that you want to bring out with you, but you also don't want to get slowed when you're going there. So what this takes is this Zagastin. You can buy these a lot of the time on the flea, and I think Therapist Master sells it for 35k, so I normally buy them from her if there aren't cheaper ones on the flea market. It takes one of those, one morphine, two of these max energies, and then a couple of these pile meds. I'm not 100% sure, but most of these, a lot of the time, like you'll find morphine injectors and stuff in raids, so it's pretty easy to have those. I craft these max energies, but it's also really easy to get them. If you just go into Goshan, you can find like a ton of them in a single raid. But then the next thing that I'll like to do is these SJ6 crafts. They are great money makers because you get two of these, not just one, and normally they sell for about 45k. And crafting them isn't too terribly expensive, so the more that you craft, it just levels up your hideout management and your crafting skills. So even if you're not necessarily making money, you're still progressing in your skills for the game. These take the pile of meds, one of the saline solutions. These are marked as like NaCl in your when it's just like the little icon, and then you need one of these SJ1 guys. All this stuff like isn't too terribly expensive on the flea. If you're crafting your pile of meds, you'll just have these laying around, so you won't have to worry about buying them every single time, because these are starting to go up in price. They're around like 10k a piece. And if you do want to like completely ignore crafting in the Medstation, you can just sell your pile of meds outright, or just like mix in some of these low level crafts, whatever you do actually want out of this crafting station. The next thing that I like to craft in the med station are these propofol injectors. Same situation with these pile of meds. You'll need a couple of these for the craft. You'll also need a golden star, which I would not recommend just like buying golden stars off the flea and then putting it straight into this craft, because you can see they're pretty expensive. But what I like to do is I'll actually like run them in my kit. See, I've got one in here right now. I use the golden stars up until I have about like 2 or 3 left, and then I'll come in and craft these propofol. Another thing that you want to do with crafting items is there are these longer crafts that you'll want to do when you're like getting off for the night or not going to play during the day, if you want to like get on before work and start them. The one that I do in the med station is this defibrillator. It's going to take a couple of these power banks. Normally what I do is I will just like, if I find one in raid, I'll put it in my gamma, and then I'll have these to craft later. It'll take 4 of these capacitors, 3 wires, and 2 magnets. So most of these are pretty common. You probably have a bunch laying around. You need them for a lot of other items. These magnets are actually starting to get a little bit more expensive on the flea. They'll range from anywhere from like 14 to 22k, but they are super easy to get. They're one of my favorite crafts in the Workbench. All you're gonna need is one of the damaged hard drives, which, like, if you're playing the game, you know how easy those are to come by. A lot of this stuff that you need to craft, you'll be able to craft at different stations, which is really nice. So it's not like you're outright buying everything every time you want to craft something. Alright, so now I'm going to move over to the nutrition unit. I actually don't use the nutrition unit as much as I should. There's not a whole lot of crafts that I feel like are worth it at this point, so I'm just gonna go through. I'll use the nutrition unit when I feel like I need to, or I just like happen to have the items for a craft laying around. Like I said earlier with the mules, this is where you're gonna get these max energies. This craft is pretty expensive, which kind of sucks, but these are a pretty expensive item in the first place, and you get 4 of them. What you're gonna do, get a bottle of water. These don't need to be full bottles of water, so if you have a bottle of water laying around and you're trying to boost your hydration level before you're going into a raid, don't use the whole thing. I would say just like use as much as you need, and then you'll still have the water bottle, and then you can use it for the craft later, which is great. These magica coffee beans, they're not as common of a spawn as a lot of the other stuff, but you'll run across them pretty frequently if you play a decent amount. Otherwise, a lot of the time I end up buying them from the flea. These are a pretty volatile item. They're pretty inexpensive right now. I've seen these go for as high as like 30k, just depending on what time it is and if people are doing crafts with them or not. Besides that, you just need one of the Tarkolas, and these are pretty easily found in the back of Goshan on the shelves with all the other food spawns. These will pop up all the time. You'll find these on customs and food spawns. They're not the most common, but you'll find them pretty easily. And then another one of my favorite crafts over here are the Slickers bars. These, a lot of people you don't want these to like eat. Yeah, hits your hydration pretty hard for only like a 30 energy increase. But what these are actually good for is if you go over to Prapper, he's got this scav vest trade. Okay, so this is one of the best trades that a lot of people don't really take advantage of. It's just 1 Slickers bar. They sell for like 10k on the flea. But these scav vests are so expensive. They go anywhere from, I've seen them around like 14 to up to 30k, just depending on how many people are buying them. But this scav vest trade is awesome because there's going to be a couple quests that you need to wear a scav vest. I think it's Punisher 4, which is definitely, you don't want to be spending that much money on them every single time when you can just get the Slickers craft and then you have 7 ready to go. Another big thing with these scav vests that you can do is there's this ripstop craft, and it takes 3 of these scav vests to craft the ripstop, and these sell for a decent amount, like 18-20k. It's just a good craft. It goes really quickly, and then you're able to use the ripstop to get some of these armor trades. A lot of people are saying this rig is the new meta, like mid-tier armor class. It's a good level 4 armor. It's got a decent size compared to some of the other guys. Yeah, like it's way better. It's bigger than the rat rig. I think it looks better. You don't look as dumb as wearing this like mop. I don't even know what the hell this is. But then this one, it uses the ripstop trade and then one of the sewing kits. So that's really not bad at all, because these go for 30k. So if you're just doing the trade, you only have to buy the sewing kit. That's a 30k piece of armor right there. That's not bad. A lot of the other videos online that cover stuff regarding the hideout, like Airwing Marine is so good. He knows so much about crafting, and he goes really deep into the different like rubles per hour, how much money you're gonna make, kind of a thing. I'm just gonna go through these items and just show you the way that I do it. I don't necessarily try to min-max everything. I honestly just make all these crafts to try to level my hideout and also have some money on the side. The way that I think about the hideout is I'm investing money that I'll end up getting back later. Like these mules, I make so many of them. I just have them laying around in my med cases. I've got a couple there. I've got a couple here. I just make a bunch of these and leave them around. And what's really nice is if I'm ever like down bad on money, I can just like pop a couple of these on the flea market and I make my money back. You're not making money immediately, but it's nice having these items as like a cushion, if that makes sense. So if you're ever out of money, like, see, I don't have a ton of money right now. I've got like 4 million, but I have a 52 million stash value. So if I'm ever low on money, I'm able to just quickly sell some stuff that I have stockpiled on the flea market. One of my favorite things this wipe that's made me a ton of money is the water collector and the booze generator. I know it takes a while to get these, but the faster you can get them, the more money you make, because a lot of people are starting to get the booze generator and it's really skyrocketing the cost of sugar, because I bought a ton of sugar back when they were really low, because I knew that they go up every single wipe. They get to be pretty expensive. So I have like whole coolers. I have a whole cooler that's just like dedicated to sugar. I have a ton of these laying around just so I can craft these items without spending more money than I need to. What you got to do to get this is you get the water collector to level 3, you'll put the water filter in, and in about like 6 hours, they give you one of these purified waters. So then you can, if you don't have the booze generator, these still sell for a lot of money. So you'll be able to put these on the flea market, make money back. Like these water filters are only 20k, so it's so worth just like having them running constantly. But then if you do end up getting the booze generator, you're able to craft the moonshine. And moonshine is insane. It's so nice. They're selling for around like 270, 280 constantly. And they'll sell basically immediately. So you'll be able to make as much money, if not more, than a Bitcoin in nearly half the time, if not less. Like I really haven't liked Bitcoin a lot this wipe. It's not as good as it used to be. These Bitcoins are selling for about like 250 to 300 depending on the day. But see, I've got 10 graphics cards, and normally at this point I would have upgraded it to level 2, but these filters are just going for so much money on the flea. I've honestly ignored it, because even if I had 5-10 more graphics cards, it would be a marginal change in how often I get a Bitcoin. So this is just doing me so much better. I'm constantly making money because of this. These just sell so well, and you'll always want to have these running, trying to make money, because it's just so easy to stack your money by constantly selling these on the flea market. I'm gonna go into the Intel Center. So this is gonna be, you're not gonna be as active making stuff in the Intel Center, because the crafts here take way longer to make. But mainly what I'll use the Intel Center for is crafting these secure flash drives, because I'll craft these secure flash drives, and then that feeds directly into the Intel folder craft, because it's three flash drives and one thing of paper. So the paper is literally just like, oh, it's going up a little bit, but yeah, they sell from anywhere from like 25 to 30k. And then you just turn this around and it's straight profit. These Intel folders are just insanely expensive. 380k. They're constantly going for that much. And if you have the Scav Case, you'll be able to just throw the intel folder in and get some good stuff. Like, holy shit, that was great. I just I just got another intel folder. So another thing that I do with the Intel Center is I'll craft these like VPXs, because these sell for around like 120, 130. They're really nice, really easy to sell. All these crafts are basically just like whatever you're feeling, whatever you have. Besides the Intel and the USB, I normally will just craft these VPXs or the vertexes, depending on how well they're selling, kind of a thing. It's, if you have the items, just craft it. I would say just like have something crafting as much as you can. We're gonna go over to the Workbench. The Workbench is kind of thrown me for a loop this wipe. I don't really have that many things that I'm just dying to craft. A big thing that you can do is do this loop where you'll craft power cords. So you craft these power cords. It's two wires, 2 blue tapes, and 2 T-plugs, and all these are like pretty inexpensive items. So what you do is you just craft these. You can either sell them, or what I like to do is go back in and craft wires. So all the wire craft takes is 2 power cords. So if you do the power cord craft, you already have them laying around, and what you do is you just loop those 2 crafts over and over again. You get the 8 wires, and then you go back, craft the power cords. You just have to buy the tape and the T-plugs, and you can just do this constantly. And what that'll allow you to do is just slowly level up your crafting and hideout management skill without burning through money by buying a ton of stuff. Besides that, honestly, the big things that I like to craft here, overnight at least, I'll do this S&B craft. The S&B craft, though, it's just 1 red gunpowder, and it takes about 9-ish hours. So yeah, you get 80 of these S&B rounds, which is really nice because you can only buy these from traders now. They actually just took them off the flea market, but it's really nice when you're doing different like sniping tasks like Shooter or Punisher 6 where you need to use an SVD. It's just really good ammo, and it's a pretty inexpensive craft that you can just have running every night when you get off. Besides that, things I would look for are the VOG. The VOGs are a very good craft because you get 8 of these grenades, and they'll sell. I would try to sell them at like 18. They're kind of running low right now, but the market fluctuates a ton throughout the day depending on. The VOG craft is pretty easy. All you need is the grenade fuses. I think you need 5 of these grenade fuses and then 5 of these shells. So I typically just like save up these items until I have enough to do the VOG craft. There are a lot of really good ammo crafts that I don't want to ignore. They take a lot longer than they used to, but since ammo is a lot more scarce this wipe, it's definitely worth doing. Yeah, there's this BP craft here. They nerfed it a lot. They used to give you 200 bullets, but you only get 120 now. And I think it's 3 of each, 3 blue and 3 green gunpowder. I might be wrong about the number, but the green is more expensive than the blue. Is really common, and you probably have a ton of those laying around. But yeah, I'll do the same thing where I save up these green gunpowders until I am able to make the craft. And it takes about 15 hours, so that's gonna definitely be another one that you want to run when you get off for the night. Alright, now on to the Lavatory. The Lavatory is a really easy one that will help you level up your crafting skill, because there's a lot of cheap things that go really quickly. So my favorite thing in the Lavatory is this fleece craft. I'm so mad because I've been doing this for like a wipe and a half, and somehow I have no idea, people started doing it. It's only 2,000 for one of these beanies from Ragman, and you just get 4 of them. Quick, throw them in, get that fleece craft going. It's super nice, super easy, and then you can either like save the fleece or sell it. It sells for about 10k, so you're making a decent amount of money doing that. Another thing that I will choose to do is craft these bleaches and the shampoo. So these crafts take The shampoo's a water bottle and a soap. You can do the same thing with the water bottle, like I said earlier, where you just drink it and then have a little bit left and then use it for the craft. The Ox Bleach is a pretty easy one. You get 5, which is really nice. You just need a soap, an alkali, and a sodium. So the only thing that's going to be pretty expensive is the sodium, but it's about like 20k. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's about like 20k depending on the day. It fluctuates just like everything else. You throw those 2 crafts are really nice because then you'll go over to Ragman here, and it's another one of these barters where I don't like spending money on helmets, but I feel like it's super easy to just be able to get a solid level 3 helmet for these 2 bleaches. It's so easy, I do it all the time. The next thing that I will choose to do with those items is the TV rig, the TV 110 armored rig. So this, all you need the 4 bleaches and the 2 shampoos. This is like decently expensive, but see, it's pretty, I don't even have the armor unlocked because I think it's either quest locked or you have to be level 4 with him to be able to buy it. But this is just like a great rig, really solid armor protection, and it's pretty big too. So you'll have all these slots to, if you want to run grizzlies or the big drum mags, you'll have these big squares open. Yeah, it's just like not very expensive. It's a pretty solid trade, and I do it all the time. But yeah, besides those, you can see I'm doing it right now. Whenever I get off, if I have the stuff laying around, I'll make this grenade case because you can sell these for 320k to Therapist, or you can put it on the flea. It mostly sells for euros because a lot of people are trying to get their euros up so they can get solar power or do the quest where you need to turn in 50k to be able to get your sniper skill leveled up. But another thing that I do with these grenade cases, if I don't really want to get undercut on the flea, is I'll sell it straight to Therapist, and then I'll buy euros directly from Skier with the money that I made off of that. This won't increase your flea reputation, which is kind of a bummer, but it's still just really easy, really quick. You're able to get it out of the way kind of a thing. If you're really trying to boost your crafting skill too, I would recommend doing these gas mask crafts because they only take 2 minutes, so they can fluctuate a lot too, but if you can get it for around 20k, I feel like it's worth it. I'll buy one of those and I'll go to the lavatory first. I'll start that craft and then start going through the rest of my hideout, grabbing all that other shit. And by the time I'm done with that, I already have the gas mask crafted. So then I can just quickly start another craft. Another nightly craft that is definitely worth doing is this mag case. So the mag case, you need 2 of these blue fuel tanks. So either just like find them in raid, buy them outright kind of a thing. But if you're just trying to get the item to do the craft, you can hit this button up here that's operational only. And then you'll be able to get these without any fuel in them for about half the price, which is, it's nice. I don't typically do it. I don't think it's worth it, but if you are like really trying to rush it, it's a way faster way to get that empty tank for a little bit less. Another thing that you can do with the magazine cases, if you like either have a couple already, you just want to sell them, get rid of them, you can actually come up here to the Scav Case. So it's going to take 2 of these mag cases and then just like a couple of these other items. If you want to do that, it's a really nice nightly craft if you just have these mag cases laying around. If you want the scav box, you can keep it. I have 4. I'm kind of a hoarder, so I feel like I like having more than not enough. But they will sell on the flea for about $1 mil, so that's a great way to make money too. The last thing I'm going to touch on is the Scav Case. I personally have really liked the Scav Case this wipe. The way it works is there are these different tiers that you can kind of bribe scavs to go get loot for you. It's basically like gambling because sometimes you'll just get absolutely ass stuff back and not make your money back, but then other times you'll get stuff like, I got the Hillside House key on Lighthouse, which is just selling for so much money. I got it 2 times actually, and I was able to put this on the flea for a barter trade of 3 of those corrugated military tubes, and they were selling for about $1 mil at the time. So I just thought, I had no clue someone was actually going to do the trade, but it helped me a ton because I honestly haven't even used the key in the first place. I've heard it's great, I just haven't had the chance to do it yet. It can get really lucky, or you can just get screwed. I typically will run the $95,000 one. I feel like that's really nice. But if you do get these intel folders, you're more likely to get keys and random stuff like that. So I've been trying my luck on that recently, but they are pretty expensive. So it's kind of like a hard decision for me whether or not I want to sell it on the fleet or risk losing money on the scav case. But yeah, besides that, I mean, just do what you got to do. Don't worry too much. I recommend having something crafting as often as you can. I normally have something crafting at all times, but just like get in the habit of doing this. It's a lot of people ignore it. Like a couple of my friends, they've played the game just as much, if not more than me, and they don't craft nearly as much as me. But I just think it's a really fun part of the game. At least it's like a little bit more micromanagey, but I do enjoy it, and you'll end up getting a ton of money. So yeah, good luck. Let me know if I missed anything. Let me know what your favorite crafts are, and yeah, keep it up.